IT projects, or
The two specific that you brought up in our meeting last week, which was the audio video system here in this facility. So we do have the first vendor will be out on Tuesday. He's going to give us the upgrade quotes for the audio system in here, and then the audio video in the community center next door, in addition to a public announcement system down for West Park. So we've got that on the books. That's coming in Tuesday. I have called two other vendors. One I've heard back from, one I haven't, so I'm working to get, at least 3 quotes on that. I do have the numbers coming back in from Cincinnati Bell to finalize the contract for the upgrades necessary for the new firehouse. That'll be for the internet circuit to provide to the larger facility and the additional phones. That's due in by Friday this week. And then most of the other projects, I started working on a log that I'll share with you guys on just the steps required and get you updates on that probably by Friday.
okay, great.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, I thought that was a good meeting, and I know we want to get things operating down at the new station. We do have, I reminded him of the professional training coming up here, and he was well aware of that, and we're pushing like heck to do what we can to get that operating, because that, again, we have this beautiful facility. We want to utilize all the aspects that we have. So thank you for the update, and we asked Mr. Reed, asked Mr. Taylor to try to come to maybe every other meeting or so that we can hear from him on IT projects. So thank you. Roundabout, brought my laptop, but not a whole lot to report. There was a meeting with Branstetter Carroll a couple weeks ago. They have reached back out to ODOT, and I asked for an update today. And Branstetter Carroll shared with me that they received ODOT's comments and are working on addressing them for resubmittal. The comments are minimal, so assured us that the comments from ODOT were minimal, and that they're hoping they will be able to finalize. There will be a final submittal before approval. They're updating the drawings to reflect ODOT's comments and resubmit to the HCEO as well. So again, a lot of this is outside of our control, but we are pushing and kicking and screaming and waving and everything we can do. But I think that we're continuing to see progress, which is good. It's never as fast as we would like, but we are seeing progress and moving in the right direction as far as the roundabout. I do have a resolution that I would like to bring and propose that this board adopts. It's a resolution of support for issue 1. It's a state issue 1. There's been a lot of discussions, and I don't like to get political here, and I don't believe this is political because it's not partisan, it's nonpartisan, but this is basically a safety issue, and I think that it's important for all of our communities to be united in speaking up about public safety. And so essentially there was a ruling that and I have it here, the DeBose versus McGuffey, where the courts decided, the Ohio Supreme Court decided that Ohio courts may not consider public safety when setting the amount for bail. If that shocks you, it certainly shocked me. So the Ohio Supreme Court, in a very close decision, announced and made a decision that the lower court judges could not consider public safety when setting the bail amount. It listed 3 or 4 other categories, essentially ability to pay and things like that, but it said that they should not take that into consideration. This issue 1 corrects that and says that by the vote of the people that they will, in fact, that they should take into consideration public safety when making a decision on bail. So again, this isn't a Republican, Democrat, Independent issue. This is simply a public safety issue, and anyone can read it, see it, get a copy of it. I'm happy to do that, but I am going to propose, and by the way, Mr. Reed, our administrator, sent this to all 3 trustees for review and consideration, and so I would would like to sign it, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this resolution in support of issue 1 tonight, so that I know a lot of other jurisdictions throughout Hamilton County, frankly throughout all of Ohio, are doing the same thing and expressing their views as far as the importance of this topic.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Robison?
Yes,
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
thank you.
Anything else?
We are going to, thank you. We're working on a fall edition of the Township newsletter, so we had a spring edition that went out, and working on the fall edition, and hopefully that will go out in the next month to make sure that residents are as informed as possible. The only thing I think, Dr. Earl, trunk or treat was the only thing that I don't know that you mentioned, but that is October the 9th from 3 to 5, so that's a big to-do and growing in popularity with 8 million pieces of candy, but that is just a big event, and
Is that October 9th?
it is October 9th from 3 to 5 down at the school parking lot, and I know that Kiwanis is looking to participate, and I was even talking to Carrie Rovers, our events manager, about having the township participate in some capacity, whether we team up with Kiwanis or some other group, or whether we have our own group. But I think that that would be neat to get some sugar in all the kids and get them all sugared up and high, and then send them home to
You
mom.
can decorate your own trunk.
Right, yeah, so great event. The only other thing is more of a general comment. I would just like to challenge, and unfortunately Mr. Reed is out of town, but I would like to challenge all of our department heads, all of our staff, to just look at our operations, the contracts we have. So I will give a simple example, but Kim Day, our administrative assistant there, we use multiple different versions of soap, hand soap, have multiple different dispensers, and it is extremely inefficient for us to order from different suppliers, different versions of soap, and try to stock this up, and then have different dispensers, and some works for some and some works. And she brought it to my attention, and we rectified that, and now we have all foam soap, we have all the same dispensers in our new fire station 69, as well as up here in all of our buildings, and it's more cost effective, it's more convenient, it's just better. We don't have this backlog of all this. I want to kudos to you for bringing that forward. And this isn't a multi-million-dollar cost savings, but it's a good example of how, if we evaluate all the things we do, I'm sure that there's contracts out there, I'm sure that there's things that, we've been stuck in a mode of doing it the way we've always done it for years, and that we could possibly look at finding some more. I will tell you that, and I would love if Ms. Oster would like to weigh in on this, but if and I know I've talked to you briefly about it, but if I asked Mr. Reed to work with you, to work with some others, and look at some of these contracts, our grievances with the Hamilton County Engineer's Office, and I know you dealt with this for years, and I'm dealing with it with Dan Reed and Ms. Day, Jason Pastor, things like that. I would like to see in the next month or two, and we'll put a more firm deadline on it, but anything that we have like that I'd like to get a grasp of exactly what the structure of those contracts are, so that we can look at it and say, are we getting a good deal? Are we getting the best bang for our buck? Are we, is this the best for our residents?
Approved at a meeting, so there is no contracts that have not been approved at a meeting.
Sure.
But I agree with you,
Right.
but that's where we get more than one bid.
Well, yeah, and I think just bringing it forward so that this board can review it and see how much we're spending, what are the parameters of
Kind of
these
like the
contracts?
report I gave you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to bring it up because I think that we need to look at it as a whole, and specifically as we go in towards the end of the year here, because a lot of the things we do, we approve at the very beginning of the next fiscal year. And I think that if we can spend the next 3 months looking at some of these things, reevaluate them, and maybe we are, maybe those are the best things out there. I'm not saying we need to change just to change, but I think that we could just look at it and take a good hard look and say, is this the best for the residents of Miami Township, and are we as cost effective as we can be, and getting the best product, the best service that we can. So I will follow up with some emails between now and the next meeting. Again, it's bad timing that Mr. Reed is out of town, but I just think that this is a priority for me as we look at how we do business in general.
Definitely. We can look at it.
And then you'll bring up the credit card, all that good stuff.
Well, do you want that, or did you want to talk to Carrie? I bet she wanted a meeting, but
Yeah, I guess we do. I just wanted to say thank you to you, I guess, for your follow-up, but we'll
I think
finalize
we need
that
to
more.
discuss that,
Yeah,
and then we can just do that at the next meeting.
perfect, very good,
Yeah, we tried it, it was, yeah.
sure.
But I can discuss what we're, we're looking, charging credit card for the rentals, but we gotta be very careful how we handle that,
Sure,
because that's 3% the residents are paying. So we're working on that. I've talked to legal, I've talked to the bank, and that we can charge that to the renter, but we're still working on that. So,
Great. okay, thank you.
but yeah,
I put a comment on that just so you can look at that.
yeah,
But through our website, which is for government entities only, they have a charge service, but because they're a national company, they get better rates than most local companies do. So if we set up that program that we presented for charging the credit cards through the website, you might wanna look at that fee structure, because it might be better than 3%. And it would be
Yeah, right now it's
associated and set up for the
3.5.
authorization, and it's PCI compliant, and it's backed up through the website. So that's something to look at when we talk about that
can you
before.
check with them? Would you
Yeah.
be able to do that for us?
Yeah,
Great.
I can call get that program and the fees. So
Yeah,
that's
Okay.
right.
and I got business cards and things, and so does, I'm sure Cindy does as well, and, we can send you that and just take a
Yeah,
look.
if you can do that, that would be great, Mike.
Yeah. I'll get that information. I
Thank
know we
you.
looked at that, that's been like 2 years ago when we got their rates,
Okay.
but we'll get rates from them again.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, this was just through Cincinnati Federal, so we don't have to go through them, but.
Okay.
You may want to check with Fifth Third Bank, they have their own process. My wife works,
You gonna-
they got their own
No,
process.
no.
Yeah.
Ms. Oakley?
Well,